Hello and welcome back. And in this video, we're going to be creating this expenses widget. And the intent for this video is to look at how you can create widgets that can have configuration options. So when you long press on a widget, it actually would show you a configuration option. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at in today's video. So let's go ahead and get started. So for this one, I have created this sample app. So I'm gonna add a new target here. So add new target, and we're gonna select our widget extension, and we're gonna call this one expense widget. Okay, and let's go ahead and finish this, and we're gonna go into the folder now. For this one, let's work on this existing file. I'm gonna start deleting stuff from this file and start replacing it with our own content. But we can work off of a single file. You already know how to structure, and this is gonna be rather simple. So let's focus on what's the main content that we want to cover. So first thing we can do is we want to provide that configuration option. The configuration option is provided by something called intent definition. So we need to create a file for intent definition, and if you go click add new file, you're gonna go ahead and search for intent definition. So WidgetKit intent definition file, that's what we need. And target membership, make sure it is the widget extension, and we're gonna call this one expense intent definition, like that. Okay, now when the file is created, it's completely empty. So we're gonna create our intents here. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create an enum. This enum is gonna basically represent our intent value, okay, that we're gonna create. So let's create category. Okay, and this category is gonna have some values in it. So by default it is unknown, and we're gonna create a category that's gonna take values from 0 to 5. Okay, so first value we're gonna add is gonna be all, for all expenses. Okay, then we're gonna add maybe food for food expenses. So by the way, you can actually change the display name. All expenses, for example, all expense, food expenses. So 2. Okay, as you can see, it's automatically incrementing that, so that's actually perfect. Then we're gonna have our grocery, for example, and grocery value is gonna be grocery expenses. Then maybe gas and rent. Gas and rent. So okay, all right, so these 5 values that we're going to support, unknown is going to be 0, and then you can get all these other values. Okay, next up, you're going to create an intent by creating new intent. Okay, and this one is going to be we're going to say view monthly expense. Okay, that's going to be the name. And for this expense, it's going to be category type view. Okay, so it's going to be information only, and we're going to make sure that we're going to say intent is eligible for widget, and we can uncheck all these other values. Intent is either configurable and by Siri shortcut and this Siri suggestion. Okay, next we're going to add parameter, and parameter is going to be our category. Okay, and is going to be category. Display name is automatically going to change. Type is going to be our custom type category. It's just going to start showing up here. Now this is going to be so user can edit shortcuts and stuff like that, so we can leave that and we can check this one off. Okay, parent parameter is going to be none, and default value is going to be all expenses. Okay, one thing I just remember that I wanted to tell you guys was if you have created your project in Xcode 12 beta 2 or beta 1, and if you try to open that in beta 3, for me at least, it's actually crashing. So the best way to open it is open your project with regular Xcode. Maybe you have like Xcode 11, open your project with that. Okay, keep that open and then open your Xcode 12 beta 3 or later on, whichever version you're using. What it's gonna do is it will try to map and take whatever you have open in existing Xcode and open that same project inside your beta. So that's how you can actually get away with it. It at least worked for me, so hopefully it's gonna work for you. Just wanted to give you a little tip if you're I was getting super annoyed with the fact that I couldn't open any of my projects, and I figured out, like, this trick by accident. Okay, so let's go to our expense widget now, and we're gonna start creating some objects. Okay, first object we need is the intent timeline provider. Okay, so we are going to create our own provider. So I'm gonna start remove everything actually. So first we're gonna create our struct for provider intent timeline provider this time. So if you remember last time we created timeline provider, this time we are creating intent timeline provider because we're gonna provide configuration options. Okay, we're still gonna need entry, so it's gonna be public type alias entry, and let's take simple entry or something for now. Okay, simple entry is not created, I know. So let's go ahead and create that simple entry. I'm just gonna say struct maybe expense entry, we call it expense entry. It's gonna be timeline entry. Okay, and gonna have public let date of type date, public let category of type expense category. Okay, where's this expense category coming from? Well, we're gonna create an enum for that. It's gonna be of type int. It's gonna map our values. Okay, so basically we're gonna create this expense category, and it's gonna map the category that we created in an intent definition. Okay, so you're gonna try to keep all the same values or similar values. There's gonna be too much typing, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here and change these to all food, because I want to provide a description in our enum as well. So what I'm going to do is going to keep it simple. So all food, and this sequence needs to be same. So all food, then grocery, because I want to actually use default enum values. So grocery is the third one, and I've initialized first one as 1, so other ones are going to be just incremental values. or they're automatically going to increment. Then next up is gas and rent. So okay, and then we're going to provide a function for description, which is going to return a string. Switch on self. Like so. Okay, so with that, all right, so with that we have all of our expense categories created, and our expense entry is created. So we're simply gonna say expense entry here. Okay, and now let's see what else. Okay, so we need to get the category. So first we're gonna create a function for category, and we're gonna say it actually takes a configuration, which is view monthly expense intent, and returns an expense category. Okay, we're gonna once again put a switch statement here on config.category. So let me see if I can actually cannot find. Yeah, I know, because okay, let's take a look. Let me comment this out, and let's create snapshot. So snapshot is not getting created. So let's build okay, yeah, okay, provider does not conform, so can we provide the snapshot, please? Okay, so snapshot is gonna be entry expense entry, and expense entry takes two values. It takes a date and a category. So category is going to be expense category dot all, just for now. Okay, and we're going to come back and fix this. Completion is going to be entry. Reason I'm doing this, so Xcode start to cooperate. View expense. See, there we go. Now it's actually working. Okay, so snapshot is good. Timeline, let's create that one. And now it looks like it's happy, so I can go back and create this category. So what we are doing here is we are creating a category, a mapping between the category that's defined here in expense intent, which is view monthly expense intent right here. So we're going to get its category, right? Config.category, and we're going to map it to our expense category, okay, for the values. Okay, so we're simply going to say pattern take all and return all for the expense category. Now we're going to repeat that for all the other cases. So food, and we're gonna have a default which is gonna return all for all the other scenarios, which is going to be basically the unknown. If it's unknown, then return this. Okay, now here, instead of returning expense category, we get this information from the configuration for the snapshot. So what we can simply say is, here, give us a category as well, category for, and the for is going to be supplied inside the configuration. So this configuration right here is going to have the current selected value that user has provided, right? So for that configuration, we're going to simply extract that configuration.category and match that category to our expense category and pass that expense category into our expense entry. And expense entry is going to then use it to render our view. Okay, so that's how users' configurations are passed along into the widget. All right, for the timeline, we're gonna have, let's say, entries, for example, which is an array of expense entry. Okay, and we're gonna generate a timeline. Basically, that's gonna consist 5 entries, and they're gonna be an hour apart, starting from current date. Okay, so current date, and then I'm gonna create our offset 0 to 5, and we're gonna say entry date is equal to calendar.current.date, and I'm gonna say by adding to hour, and value is gonna be our offset to current date. Okay, then we're gonna create our entry, and we're gonna supply within the entry the entry date that we created. Okay, and the category is once again gonna come from configuration. So I'm gonna say category for configuration. Okay, so we're gonna map that, and we're gonna say entries dot append entry. All right, then next up, we're gonna create our timeline. For entries with policy as at end to update. Now completion, we're going to supply that timeline like that. Okay, so that is going to be our timeline that's created with the configuration option that we have created for the intent definition. Okay, so that's our intent. We have our entry created, we have our category created. Let's create our placeholder view. So I'm gonna simply create placeholder view. Now I'm creating this in a single file, just because we can actually wrap this one up. It's only one widget with some settings, but I would still recommend taking folder and file-based approach, because that's much more practical. Loading for the placeholder, and you can actually even use redacted. Oh, placeholder. Okay, Xcode is running super slow right now. Expense widget entry view. Let's create our entry view, and we're gonna create our entry, and this is gonna be provider.entry. We can simply say that whatever provider is providing as an entry. Okay, we can simply get that, or we can actually get it as expense entry like that. Okay, and we can create our body, which takes some view in a vstack expense view. Let's create our expense view that takes category. So category as entry dot category. Okay, let's create this view right here, and we're gonna be expense view type, and it takes category. Like that, and returns body. And here we're gonna actually have our switch statement for category. Okay, and Xcode crashed again. Actually, it's the autocomplete that crashed. So first we're gonna say for all the stack, and we're only gonna create the first one, and then rest I'm gonna copy paste. Opacity. Okay, and we stack. So it's going to be total expense. Like I said, it's going to be all dummy data. Title. Okay, then we'll create a dummy graph really quickly, a bar graph. Alignment is going to be leading, and all we need is rounded rectangle with corner radius as 10 with fill as color dot white dot opacity 0.5, and I'm going to copy this and paste it, and the color for this one is going to be blue dot opacity 0.9. okay, and we'll have the frame with width to show how much of this has filled the graph, and height 20. It's going to be some padding, horizontal, and then foreground color is going to be white. Okay, all right, so that's our first Z stack. All right, and I'm going to copy this and paste it for all the others. So I'm going to say food category is going to have Z stack. It's going to be food expense, and let's keep it small like that, and then let's change the color. So I'm gonna say orange, just to show, like, you know, how they are different expenses when we put them as like different widgets. They're gonna show up in different colors. So third one is gonna be gas, and this one is maybe purple. Okay, purple gas. Okay, and we're almost done. Few more categories. There's grocery and rent. So let's give it pink. Okay, and then we can have rent let's make it 6,000. Okay. Let's see, we have extra. I think we probably messed up the brackets. So let me see. This one is closing. This one is closing Z stack. Okay. Closing Z stack. Okay, perfect. Closing Z stack, and this one is extra, I guess. Control I. Okay. Expected. Okay. So what are you closing? Closing Z stack. Okay, so let me collapse these and collapse. Okay, so that's switch statement, then body, and then our view. Perfect. Okay, so that is gonna be our view, and then our widget. So main struct expense widget from widget, and we're gonna create our kind. I'm gonna just copy and paste this name, and then we're gonna create our body for widget configuration, and this is gonna be intent configuration this time, with kind is gonna be the kind that we created, not king, and the intent is gonna be view monthly expense intent.self. Okay, that's gonna be the intent. Provider is gonna be the provider that we created. Placeholder is gonna be the placeholder view, and then you have your timeline entry, which is gonna be the expense entry that's being supplied to us, and we're gonna simply say expense entry, expense widget entry view, and it expects an entry, so we're gonna give it an entry here. Okay, and now we can simply give it a configuration display name, and this is going to be expense widget, and that's it. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and see if everything builds. Okay, looks like it's building, so let's go ahead and run it and see if we can get our expense widget showing up, and we can configure it. So expense app is installed. There's one more bug that I noticed that I just want to let you guys know is sometimes it's like whenever it's installing, you won't be able to like interact with the widget itself. And there you go, like we have our widget showing up. We can tap and hold, and let's see, where did the add button go? Wow, okay. We cannot add any more widgets. What do you mean? Really? I didn't know there was a limit. Okay, let me remove the weather widget so we can remove all the widgets there are. And okay, so let's see. Welcome to the app gallery. Okay, that's your app. Come on, go away. Wow. Okay, there we go. It started showing up. Oh, that was a bug. That was a pretty cool. Okay, so there we go. This is what you see. Like, you know, like I said, we only have one widget. That's why it's actually showing up. But you have a new option now. We should have edit widget. So you can click on the edit widget, and it should show you the options. And that is a new that is a new thing as well. So see, unable to load. Like I said, it's super buggy right now. Let's try it one more time. Maybe this time it's gonna load. Let's give it a minute. And still not able to load. Okay, so hopefully you know, they'll fix this. Let me try the other widget and see if that one is actually loading. Nope, it's not loading. And that's very strange. Okay, so I tested this one on beta 2 and it was actually loading, and it should show, like, you know, basically an option for us to choose. Okay, so but I think that should actually be okay. I'll further investigate and see if there's any update or any change that we need to do. I don't think there's any change because this is a tested code, but I'm pretty sure it's like Xcode bug. Okay, so let me guys let me know, guys, like, you know, if you see the same thing, and if you find the root cause of the issue, if same thing is happening, or if I made some mistake. Okay, so we can definitely circle back on that. So and I'll keep investigating. I'll try to like run this with Xcode beta 2 and show you another video if we can debug that. Okay, because it seems like, you know, everything, like if expenses are showing fine, then the first expense is, like, you know, the default expense. This is what we have actually said here, default value. So if we say, like, you know, hey, it's gonna be the food, and if we run it, it should show us a food expense widget as well here. Let it compile, and yeah, so I don't, let me see the target membership. I mean, target membership has to be correct, otherwise it's not even gonna show up. Yeah, target membership is correct. Okay, and this is public intent class. Okay, so it's definitely, there's something that's actually, let me see, can we do this? Can we go, let's debug, let's try. Let me run it again, and what we should see is hitting this breakpoint. Okay, you're not hitting the breakpoint. Why? Right, so there's one thing I found out, that there's something seriously wrong going on here. I have so many breakpoints right here. You can see like so many breakpoints, but none of the breakpoints are being hit. Okay, so there's something going on with beta 3 that's actually not good. So what I would suggest you guys to use is basically a beta 2. Okay, and I'm gonna actually download beta 2 myself as well and run this project in beta 2 and see if that fixes these issues. So I'll post an update to the video, but as you can see, like, you know, here we selected the configuration. So if I choose configuration gas here, and if I go ahead and remove this widget, right, the next widget that I'm gonna add is basically gonna be defaulted to gas. Okay, so that means that our configuration is being read correctly. Okay, it's just Xcode is being weird about it and not showing us the correct value. But yeah, do let me know if you guys encounter the same issue. There you go. See, like, you know, it's loading this and it's showing the edit widget, and it loads the configuration, but it cannot display the value, and I don't understand why it cannot do that. So does not need to be a parent parameter. Okay. Yeah, this is very strange. Honestly, like, I can't imagine, like, what this okay. Maybe this is watch shortcut, so nothing here. Okay. Well, I don't know what can we do here. So well, I think I'm gonna try to leave it and do more investigation on why it's not happening, and maybe downgrading Xcode version would help. Okay. But yeah, this is it for this video. This is how you create your configuration widget, and I know this this video is not complete because we were not able to see the actual configuration like demo, but I will post an update to this video. Okay. But thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in next video. Maybe in next video we're gonna switch to beta 2, and we're gonna build out a widget bundle. We're gonna see, like, how you can bundle different widgets. Like, like we created expense widget, we can create another widget of different kind with another target, and we can bundle those together and display them as the library right here. Instead of showing, like, this one widget with 3 variations, we're gonna have like 6 widgets that are gonna have different variations. In our case, it's gonna be just 2 because we're gonna just support the small as possible, but we're gonna have 2 different widgets that we're gonna show, for example. Okay, so that's gonna be coming up in next video, so I'll see you guys in next video. Thank you.